Welcome back to Global Works TV. In America, the lumber industry is not just a trade. It is a living monument to engineering and endurance. From the forests of the South to the sawmills of the Carolinas, it is an industry that has shaped communities, powered economies, and built the framework of modern civilization. Among these powerhouses, one name stands tall: Collum's Lumber Products, a family-owned company in Allendale, South Carolina, recognized as one of the most advanced southern yellow pine mills in the United States. The journey of every board begins here, deep in the pine forests. Machines unlike any other dominate this environment. Tiger Cat and John Deere feller bunchers stride through the stands, their hydraulic arms gripping trunks as their saw heads slice cleanly through the base. In mere seconds, a tree that has grown for decades is felled, lifted, and neatly gathered into bundles. It is precision, on an industrial scale, repeated tree after tree, creating the steady flow of raw material needed for the mill. Once grouped, the trees are dragged from the woods by the skidder, a machine designed for brute force. Steel grapples clamp down on massive bundles of timber, hauling them over uneven terrain, pulling them steadily toward the landing site. The skidder's tires tear through mud and slope, dragging the weight of the forest with relentless momentum. At the landing, the transition from forest to industry takes shape. A hydraulic loader swings into action, lifting logs from the piles and feeding them into the delimber. The delimber strips away branches, needles, and tops in a single pass, leaving only the clean stem of the tree, merchantable wood ready for transport. Every motion is deliberate, every machine playing its role in refining nature into commerce. Clean logs are then swung onto waiting log trucks. Each truck is a steel giant, built for the task, carrying close to 26 tons of southern yellow pine at full load. Operators secure the stacks with heavy chains, ensuring that nothing shifts on the long ride ahead. When the load is ready, the engine growls, air brakes hiss, and the truck begins its journey. From the quiet depths of the forest to the roar of diesel on the highway, these trucks move relentlessly toward their destination, the gates of Collum's Lumber Products. Here, the real transformation will begin, where raw logs will be reborn as the lumber that frames America's homes, bridges, and skylines. When a loaded log truck finally arrives at Collum's Lumber Products, the journey of transformation truly begins. These trucks, often carrying upwards of 26 tons of southern yellow pine, rumble across the scale house. Here, every pound matters. The gross weight is recorded with the logs still on board. Once unloaded, the truck is weighed again, and the difference gives the net weight of the logs. This number not only drives the financial transaction for the logger, but also provides a clear measure of the mill's daily intake. Accuracy is vital, both for the economics of forestry and for the efficiency of the mill. From the scale house, trucks move into the drop zone, where massive log handlers swing into motion. These hydraulic giants are designed for one purpose: to move timber with speed and precision. Logs may be directed one of two ways. Some are stockpiled into towering stacks within the log yard, ensuring the mill has reserves to keep running even when deliveries slow down. Others are placed directly onto the log deck, feeding the production line immediately. This practice, known as hot decking, keeps operations flowing without pause. Debarking, the first cut between nature and industry. Every piece of lumber starts with a clean surface. At Collum's, logs first pass through the debarker. Here, a ring of spinning knives or flails strips away the bark in seconds. This step is crucial. Bark not only clogs saw blades and scanners, but it also harbors dirt, stones, and even bits of metal that could damage equipment downstream. What might seem like waste is actually another product stream. The removed bark is loaded into trailers and hauled away, typically burned as industrial fuel or used for landscaping mulch. This closed-loop use of byproducts is a hallmark of modern sawmills. Nothing goes to waste. Merchandising, unlocking value with lasers. With bark removed, the log enters the merchandiser line. This is not simply a saw, but a decision-making station. Laser heads scan the entire stem, creating a 3D image. Advanced software calculates the optimal breakdown, deciding exactly where to cut to maximize value. A crooked or tapered stem may be best converted into multiple shorter logs. A straight, defect-free stem might qualify as a utility pole, a specialty product worth more than dimensional lumber. In every case, the merchandiser ensures that each tree is used to its fullest economic potential. Primary breakdown, turning logs into cants and slabs. From the merchandiser, logs flow into the primary breakdown systems, the real cutting engines of the mill. At Columns, this stage splits into two main paths. Path 1, the carriage saw. For the largest logs, some reaching 42 inches in diameter, the carriage saw is the only option. Equipped with laser scanners, the carriage determines the best cut pattern. The operator, one of the most skilled positions in any mill, guides the log back and forth along the track. A vertical bandsaw slices deep into the wood, peeling off slabs. The slabs, still containing usable material, are routed to the horizontal resaw, while the squared-off center, called a cant, moves forward. Even here, human judgment works hand-in-hand with machine precision, an example of how sawmills balance tradition with technology. The horizontal resaw. At the resaw, each slab is sliced again, yielding 1 or 2 inch boards. The process repeats until the remainder is too thin, at which point it is directed to the chipper, where waste is converted into valuable wood chips for pulp and paper. The horizontal resaw is notable for being the only machine in the mill not equipped with laser optimization. Instead, it relies purely on mechanical feed and operator oversight, a reminder that not every stage can be automated. Path 2, the reducer twin and double-length infeed, DLI. Logs that bypass the carriage saw enter the DLI, which feeds them into the reducer twin. This machine serves a critical role, creating stability for the log by cutting two flat parallel faces. The reducer twin uses a combination of chip heads and vertical bandsaws. The log is first scanned and rotated so that its natural crook faces downward. A second scan refines the cutting path. The result: two flat surfaces or sideboards are sliced away, while the remaining cant proceeds downstream. Sideboards are not discarded. They fall onto the edger infeed deck to be squared and turned into marketable lumber. The cant, now stable and aligned, moves toward one of the most sophisticated machines in the plant, the curve saw gang. Following the wood's natural path. Traditional saws cut straight, but trees rarely grow in perfect lines. The curve saw gang solves this problem. Here, the cant is scanned once again. Using real-time data, the saws are adjusted to follow the natural curve of the wood. By bending with the grain instead of cutting against it, yield is increased dramatically. More boards are recovered, defects are minimized, and strength in the final lumber is preserved. The gang itself is a marvel of engineering. Two arbors, top and bottom, each carry 24 saws, spaced at 2-inch intervals. Chipping heads finish the job by cleaning rough edges or producing additional thin boards. Every pass is a calculated act of precision, extracting maximum value from every cant. Secondary breakdown, edging, trimming, and perfection, the edger. Boards that emerge from the gang often retain rough, rounded edges. They flow into the edger, where scanners measure exact dimensions and guide up to 3 adjustable saws. The edger removes wane, squaring each piece into clean boards. Waste strips head to the chipper, feeding the pulp and paper industry. The trimmer. From the edger and resaw, all boards converge at the trimmer line. Scanners analyze each piece, determining the best possible length. Saws, fixed in 2-foot increments, cut boards to standard sizes. If a board fails to meet minimum specifications, crooked, warped, or unsquare, it is routed back to the edger for reprocessing. Only boards that pass inspection move forward, ensuring strict quality control. Sorting, stacking, and kiln drying. Finished boards are now funneled into the automatic sorter. Here, mechanical arms and bins organize lumber by length, width, and thickness. Each bin fills until it holds enough lumber for a pack. Operators then release the pack to the automatic stacker, which builds neat bundles layer by layer. Thin stickers are placed between each row of boards, creating airflow paths essential for kiln drying. Forklifts lift the freshly stacked packs and transfer them to the green yard. Here, lumber rests briefly, often less than a week, before entering the dry kilns. Dry kilns. Drying is one of the most energy-intensive processes in any sawmill, but it is vital. Southern yellow pine contains significant moisture, and without drying, boards would warp and split. Inside Column's 5 kilns, massive fans circulate heated air, carefully reducing moisture to industry standards. By controlling temperature and humidity, the kilns ensure every board is stable, durable, and ready for structural use. Planer mill and final grading. The last stop is the planer mill, a facility as advanced as any in the Southeast. Boards enter rough, but exit smooth and precisely dimensioned. Automated planers shape all four sides, bringing lumber down to exact standards, 2x4s, 2x6s, and beyond. At the same time, automated graders scan every board, assigning a grade stamp that certifies its strength and appearance. This stamp is a lumber's passport, allowing it to be sold anywhere in the nation. Boards are then packaged, strapped, and wrapped, bundles of dimensional lumber destined for construction sites, retail stores, and distributors across America. Beyond the boards, energy, byproducts, and community. Collum's impact doesn't stop with lumber. The company is a model of efficiency. Every byproduct has a use. Chips go to paper and pulp mills. Sawdust feeds biomass plants. Bark is sold as industrial fuel or landscaping material. Even the energy demands of the kilns and planer mill are partly offset by a 924 kilowatt solar array installed on-site in 2017. This investment reduces energy costs and carbon footprint, a testament to the company's forward-looking approach. Collum's is also a major employer in Allendale, providing over 200 jobs in a rural community where opportunities are scarce. By maintaining steady demand for logging crews, truck drivers, and mill operators, the company supports not just its own workforce, but the entire forestry economy of South Carolina. Collum's Lumber Products is not a faceless corporation. It is a fourth-generation family business, tracing its roots back to a small planer mill in the 1930s. Through decades of reinvestment, the company has grown into one of the most modern sawmills in the Southeast. With an annual capacity approaching 200 million board feet, Collum's is a cornerstone of the southern yellow pine industry, a sector that provides the bulk of America's construction lumber. By marrying traditional values with cutting-edge technology, this mill embodies the future of American forestry. From the forest floor to the finishing line, Collum's Lumber Products has shown us what it means to operate at the peak of efficiency and tradition. Here in South Carolina, every log is scanned, optimized, and transformed into the dimensional lumber that frames America's growth. It is a story of precision, resilience, and legacy of how a family-run mill became a regional powerhouse, producing nearly 200 million board feet each year. But the American lumber story does not end here. Beyond the South, another frontier rises, the rugged mountains and vast forests of the Northwest. If Collum's represents the legacy of southern yellow pine, then the Idaho Forest Group embodies the scale and innovation of the West. With mills that push beyond 1 billion board feet annually, IFG stands as one of the largest lumber producers in the nation, driving both local communities and the national economy forward. What does it take to handle the sheer volume of timber in Idaho's endless forests? What kind of machines, technology, and vision are required to scale production to an industrial giant? Join us in the next chapter as we journey into the heart of Idaho's forests and step inside the cutting-edge facilities of Idaho Forest Group, where the future of American lumber is being forged today. High in the rugged mountains of the American Northwest, the story of lumber takes on a different scale. Here in Idaho, where forests stretch for millions of acres, the challenge is not only to harvest timber, but to move it across steep slopes, icy roads, and vast distances. Mechanical titans take command of this landscape. Feller bunchers glide between towering firs and pines, gripping and slicing trees in a single motion. John Deere skidders, like the 648H, drag massive stems across uneven ground, pulling them to the landing. At the landing, heavy cat loaders equipped with grapples strip limbs, trim tops, and cut stems into clean logs. With surgical precision, they stack the timber onto waiting trucks. The Kenworth W900 log trucks, icons of American forestry, are loaded until their steel frames groan under the weight. Chains are tightened, air brakes hiss, and the convoy begins its descent from the mountains, carrying Idaho's timber toward one of the most advanced sawmills in the nation, the Idaho Forest Group. When the log trucks of Idaho Forest Group roll through the gates of Chilco Mill, a facility north of Coeur d'Alene, they are entering one of the largest and most technologically advanced lumber plants in North America. Here, scale is everything. With an annual capacity of nearly 280 million board feet at Chilco alone, and a company-wide output exceeding 1 billion board feet, IFG is a central player in America's softwood industry, receiving and scaling. The journey begins at the scale house. Each truck is weighed with its load, then again when empty. The difference is recorded as the net weight of logs delivered, a precise measurement that determines not only payments to loggers, but also the daily throughput of the mill. Accuracy here is non-negotiable. Once weighed, trucks are directed to the drop zone, where log loaders, towering machines with massive grapples, begin unloading. Each log is carefully placed, either stockpiled into the log yard or sent directly to the log deck for immediate processing. Log yard operations. In Idaho, logs arrive in staggering volumes. The log yard at Chilco is a vast landscape of timber, organized by species, size, and intended use. To preserve log quality, sprinklers mist the piles regularly, preventing cracking and insect infestation. Wheel log stackers and gantry cranes maneuver constantly, building decks of logs that stand stories tall. These decks represent not just inventory, but stability for the mill, a guarantee that production continues even when winter storms close mountain roads. Debarking, preparing the stem. Once fed onto the mill line, logs enter the debarker. At IFG, modern ring debarkers dominate this stage. Logs are pushed through a steel ring lined with spinning knives and rotating flails. The bark is stripped away entirely, along with any dirt, rocks, or ice clinging to the surface. Debarking does more than clean the wood, it protects every machine downstream. A clean stem reduces blade wear, improves scanner accuracy, and eliminates contamination in chips. Bark itself is collected and diverted, much of it destined for biomass energy facilities, ensuring nothing goes to waste. Primary breakdown, the first transformation. After debarking, logs are scanned by laser systems that generate 3D models in real time. The data feeds directly into optimizers, which determine how each log should be cut to maximize recovery. At Chilco, two main machines handle this first breakdown: the circular head rig, or head saw. Large diameter logs are fed onto this saw, where skilled sawyers, guided by scanner data, make the initial cuts. These cuts produce flitches, unfinished boards, and cants, rectangular blocks of wood, which move downstream for further processing. The butt flare reducer, BFR logs, often flare outward near the root end, wasting material and complicating breakdown. The BFR shaves away this irregularity, creating a consistent surface and improving downstream yield. Every cut is calculated. The goal: turn around irregular log into squared material that flows efficiently through the rest of the mill. Secondary breakdown, resawing and gang saws. Once reduced, cants and flitches move toward the secondary breakdown line. Vertical band resaws. These machines split cants into boards of precise thickness. Multiple band saws can be aligned to cut several boards in a single pass. Gang saws. For maximum throughput, IFG relies on gang saws equipped with parallel blades that cut entire cants into dimensional lumber in seconds. Some lines include curve saw technology, allowing saws to follow the natural bend of the log, increasing yield and reducing waste. Every pass is guided by scanning data. Unlike old mills, where sawyers relied on intuition, modern IFG mills trust optimization software to squeeze the highest value from every stem. Edging, squaring the boards. Boards that emerge from the gangs often carry wane, rounded edges, or bark remnants. These move into the edger line. The edger scans each piece, then positions saw blades automatically. In a fraction of a second, edges are trimmed away, producing clean, squared boards ready for trimming. Waste strips are diverted to chippers, where they become pulp chips for paper mills or biomass fuel. Trimming, precision in length. Next, boards flow into the trimmer line. Laser scanners analyze each board for length, defects, and grade. Saws, spaced in 2-foot increments, cut boards into precise dimensions. The trimmer also serves as a second checkpoint. Boards failing to meet standard dimensions are flagged and rerouted, ensuring only quality lumber continues forward. Sorting and stacking. Clean boards drop into the automatic sorter, where they are separated by thickness, width, and length. Bins fill until they hold a full pack. Operators then release the packs onto transfer chains that carry them to the stacker. At the stacker, automation builds bundles layer by layer, inserting stickers between each row. This airflow spacing is critical for kiln drying. Forklifts carry the green packs to the green yard, staging them for drying. Kiln drying, stabilizing the lumber. Idaho's forests produce species like Douglas fir, larch, and lodgepole pine. Woods, valued for their strength but high in moisture. Kiln drying is essential. Inside IFG's massive dry kilns, temperature and humidity are carefully controlled. Powerful fans circulate hot air, gradually reducing moisture content to below 19%, the industry standard. Proper drying prevents warping, splitting, and fungal growth. It ensures that when lumber reaches a construction site, it remains stable and strong. Planer mill, final surfacing, and grading. Dried packs move next to the planer mill, one of the most technologically advanced stages in IFG's operations. Here, rough boards are fed into high-speed planers that shave each surface, producing smooth, uniform lumber. At the same time, automated graders, equipped with cameras and sensors, inspect every board, assigning grades based on strength and appearance. Each piece is then grade stamped, certifying its structural integrity. From economy grade boards to premium appearance lumber, every product is clearly identified for the marketplace. Packaging and distribution. Finally, finished boards are packaged into units. Steel or plastic strapping secures each bundle, and protective wrapping is applied. Logos and mill information are printed on every package, a seal of quality that buyers recognize worldwide. These bundles are then loaded onto rail cars and trucks, shipping lumber not just across the United States, but also to global markets. Scale and impact of IFG. What sets Idaho Forest Group apart is not only its technology, but its scale. Across its network of mills, Chilco, Moyie Springs, Laclede, Lewiston, Grangeville, and Athol, IFG produces over 1 billion board feet annually, placing it among the top lumber manufacturers in North America. In Idaho alone, the forest products industry provides over 16,000 jobs, and IFG is a cornerstone of that workforce. The company's operations sustain logging crews, truck drivers, equipment operators, mill workers, and countless downstream industries. Byproducts such as chips, sawdust, and bark feed into paper mills, biomass facilities, and landscaping markets, ensuring that every part of the tree is used. This commitment to resource efficiency exemplifies modern forestry, innovation, and responsibility. IFG is more than a production powerhouse. It is also an innovator. The company invests heavily in scanning technology, automation, and optimization systems. By doing so, it extracts more usable lumber from fewer trees, aligning profit with sustainability. The group also plays a role in forest stewardship, working with state and federal agencies to ensure Idaho's forests remain healthy for generations. Sustainable harvesting practices, replanting, and advanced resource management are central to their operations. In the forests of Idaho, the scale of lumber production reaches its highest form. Here at the Chilco Mill, we've seen how laser scanners, curve saw gangs, and automated planers transform logs into perfectly graded boards, each stamped, wrapped, and shipped to markets across the continent. Idaho Forest Group is more than a sawmill. It is an industrial network, producing over 1 billion board feet annually. Every machine, every operator, every truck contributes to a system where nothing is wasted. Chips feed paper mills, sawdust powers biomass plants, bark becomes fuel. This is lumber production elevated to science, serving not just Idaho, but the entire nation. From the moment a feller buncher grips a tree in the mountains, to the instant a finished board is stacked on a rail car, IFG embodies the scale, precision, and innovation of American forestry. From the southern pines of South Carolina to the towering forests of Idaho, the journey of American lumber is one of both tradition and transformation. At Collum's Lumber Products, we witnessed a fourth-generation family mill harnessing technology and efficiency to produce nearly 200 million board feet a year, an anchor for its community and a symbol of the South's forestry legacy. Then we traveled west into the vast landscapes of Idaho, where the Idaho Forest Group pushes the frontier of scale and innovation, producing more than 1 billion board feet annually, and standing among the largest lumber producers in North America. Together, these two stories reveal the breadth of an industry that is as old as the nation itself, yet as modern as the scanners and optimizers that drive today's mills. They show us how logging crews, truck drivers, sawyers, engineers, and communities are all connected by one mission: to turn trees into the structures that shape our lives. This is the story of American lumber, an unbroken chain from forest to sawmill to city skyline, a story of resilience, innovation, and power. A story still being written, one board at a time.